One of the most important aspects of buying any product should be value for money. iPhones in general have a relatively low value for money, especially lately with their 3-year-old design, small incremental updates, and high prices. But Apple has taken this to another level this year with their iPhone 14. If you are in the market for an iPhone, please skip the iPhone 14. I'll tell you why and which iPhone would be a better pick for you in this video. Let's get started. Apple released the iPhone 14, 14 Plus, 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max this year. They are priced at $800, $900, $1,000 and $1,100. The 14 Plus is a larger phone for $100 extra from 14. The 14 Pro has a newer processor and better camera for another $100. And the 14 Pro Max is a larger Pro phone for another $100. If you compare them side by side, the pricing might make sense to you because a $100 difference for a jump in specs like camera, processor, size, etc. seems reasonable. But that's the carefully thought out strategy of Apple's pricing. What Apple hasn't told you is you're getting significantly less value out of your money than the previous year iPhone. Just to be clear, the iPhone 14 is not a bad phone. In fact, it's an amazing phone. My problem is with the pricing. Let me give you 3 different arguments to show how bad the iPhone 14 pricing is and why you should stay away. First, you're getting the same phone as last year. Let's see what you're getting for $800 today. The iPhone 14 comes with an A15 Bionic processor, 6.1-inch display, 60Hz low refresh rate screen, a dual camera system, and a Face ID notch. Okay, that's not bad, right? So what are you getting for an iPhone 13, which was released last year? An A15 Bionic processor with a 6.1-inch display, 60Hz low refresh rate screen, dual camera system with Face ID notch. Something doesn't seem right here. Why is Apple releasing the same phone with iPhone 13 at $699 and 14 at $799? If you think about it, it's not just $100 more. Smartphones depreciate quickly over a year. So you're essentially buying a year-old phone for the same price as when it was released. It's gonna depreciate even faster and will be out of support even sooner. So wait, Apple knows that they can't sell the same phone a year later for the same price. They had to show something has changed, right? Technically, they did. Apple says that the camera are a little better. There is one extra GPU core in the processor, there is crash detection, and a photonic engine for better image processing. But there is one fundamental issue with all this. All these features do not make a real difference in daily user experience. The better camera quality is barely noticeable in real-world testing. The processor is identical in all benchmarks. And the photonic engine is literally a software feature which could have been an iOS update. If photonic engine could run on iPhone 14 with A15 Bionic chip, what makes it unavailable on iPhone 13 and 13 Pro with the same chip? Apple just chose to show this as an iPhone 14 feature for more price. If crash detection is something that matters to you, I would instead get an Apple Watch SE, which also has the crash detection, and that would still be a better overall value. I'll explain why towards the end of the video. Second, the iPhone 14 Pro is a simply better valued phone this year. If you see what you're getting for the extra price, the 14 Pro comes with a stainless steel body which is more durable and stronger with better finishes. You're getting a newer generation A16 processor, which means you have a faster phone and your phone is future-proof for longer, and you will get OS updates for 1 more year. And you also get a smaller notch and dynamic island, which many people seem to love. You also get a much better 48 megapixel main camera versus a 12 megapixel on the 14. 14 Pro also has a 3x optical telephoto lens, which the 14 does not. You get always on display on 14 Pro with a 120Hz screen, macro photo and ProRes video, which none of them are available on the 14. This also makes the 14 Pro a better resale value phone than the 14. Third, Apple is charging you more this year for similar feature improvements than last year. Let's compare the features and pricing between the iPhone 13 and 13 Pro with what you are getting in iPhone 14 and 14 Pro. Between iPhone 13 and 13 Pro, you got the same A15 processor, same display but with 120Hz high refresh rate screen with brighter display on 13 Pro. Better main camera, extra telephoto camera with macro photography and ProRes recordings. So, according to Apple, a high refresh rate screen with a better camera is worth $200. Between the iPhone 14 and 14 Pro, 14 Pro has newer generation chip, a 48 megapixel camera, smaller notch aka dynamic island, always on display, higher brightness screen, macro photography and ProRes video. all for the same $200 extra, which means the iPhone 14 is seriously overpriced for what you're getting. The reason is the iPhone 13 got decent upgrades to justify its $799 at the launch from iPhone 12. But this year, the iPhone 14 did not get enough upgrades, kept its same $799 price tag, while the iPhone 14 Pro got a decent upgrade. This increased the feature gap between phones without changing the price, which all made the iPhone 14 a less value for money phone this year. So how do I decide which iPhone to get? Well, if you need a larger phone and don't want to spend $1,100, there is no other way but to go for the iPhone 14 Plus. It retails around $899, which is $200 cheaper than the Pro Max. I don't think it's the best feature phone and not worth the $900 just for the larger screen, especially if you already have a 12 Pro Max or later. But that's the only option. If you want the best valued phone, there are two options. If you already have an iPhone 12 or later, go for the 14 Pro. You will get the most out of your money by upgrading. The reason why I'm saying this is because if you have an iPhone 12 or later, upgrading to 14 will not give you anything substantial and you will lose money when you resell your old phone and getting an almost same phone again. If you're new to the iPhone world and this is your first iPhone, then go for the iPhone 13, which becomes a great value phone at $699. You will get software updates as long as 14 gets because they have the same hardware, unless Apple tries to make it obsolete for no reason. The cameras are identical in most aspects and you could find refurbished or old phones for even cheaper price. If you want the latest and greatest and the best of what Apple has to offer, go for the iPhone 14 Pro Max. The camera upgrades are nice and will keep them relevant for a few years. Personally, I tried the 14 Pro to replace my 12 Pro Max, but I felt even that wasn't sufficient to spend $1,000 and upgrade. Here's the link to the video explaining all the reasons. I'll link in the description as well. But in any case, the iPhone 14 is one phone which doesn't hold well in any use case. In my opinion, Apple should have at least given the faster processor to the iPhone 14 to justify the price or brought the price down by $50, which would make so many people get the iPhone 14. Personally, I'm waiting for the iPhone 15 where I expect Apple to update its 3-year-old design. That's it for this video. Please subscribe if you found this video helpful. Also, please check out my other videos and share with your friends. I'll see you in the next one. This is Anjana. Bye-bye.